You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
This segment sponsored by Upside. Download the free Upside app today and earn real cash back every time you fill up your gas tank. Plus, you can use promo code SPORTS for 25 cents back per gallon on your first tank as we welcome you back here to Money Moves. Stormy, Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Time to get into a Tank You Tuesday edition of the NBA here as we dive in, because there are a lot of teams that are ripe for fading, and we've talked a lot about it. I know Gil and Kelly on a numbers game have talked a lot about the opportunity to fade some of these tanking teams and putting together the fun money line parlays. Lots of options for that as it pertains to today. But let's just kind of go through here in the rotation. The Mavericks at our Charlotte Hornets, and I said it last segment, what could have been a Rookie of the Year showdown between Con Kniffel and Cooper Flagg, although Cooper Flagg doubtful for tonight's game. Charlotte up from 11-point favorites to 13 and a half, depending on where you look. This total also sitting 229 and a half. A couple places it shifted up, but then we saw the buyback come back down.
This is a money line parlay leg, and that's about it.
That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, it is hard to, with some of these teams. Obviously, we've seen how bad some of these tanking teams can perform. It is kind of hard to come in and lay some of these really inflated point spreads against some of them. So that is something worth noting. Also worth noting, Charlotte, 15-8 straight up, a plus 10.1 net rating. That is the 8th best in the NBA, with an offensive rating of 123.1, third best in the NBA against bottom 10 net rating teams. So, in other words, this is a Charlotte Hornets team we have discussed will beat the absolute tar out of every single one of these bad teams that they face. They're more than capable of doing it. We have seen it. So, if you wanted to go 13 and a half, it would make some sense. I mean, the market pushed it up. It opened 11 on the overnight. Now we're here. I thought, Kelly had a good point too when he was on the Hardwood Handicappers today. If you wanted to, bring some of these point spreads down just a little bit, like again, ballparking it 7.5 to another one, and then parlay those together. Yeah, I mean, maybe you could do that and eat in a little bit. I mean, we'll talk about some of these parlays. The 4-leg one that I put together today was minus 102, minus 105, somewhere in that range. And that's a 4-leg, or excuse me, that's a 5-legger. So you're paying an exorbitant price because these teams are so heavily favored. Maybe that's a different way to do it. But this is, I think, one of the stronger money line legs that you can use, especially with Flagg. We should note he was upgraded to doubtful, but he is still officially doubtful to play. And he is scared of Con Kniffel because the last time they played, Cooper Flagg might have had 49 points, but he also lost, and Con Kniffel hit 8 3-pointers in the game.
True story. Con Kniffel, by the way, minus 175 now for Rookie of the Year, so his odds lengthening significantly just in the last week. Flagg plus 140 after being a pretty decent dollar favorite there. Continuing through here, Spurs at 76ers, San Antonio, decent-sized road favorite, bet up from 6.5 to as high as 8.5. Total tick up as well to 232.5. We saw the injury to Joel Embiid the other night. He's said to miss at least 3 games here. Does this feel like a little bit too big of a spread now that we're out to 8.5, or how do you see it?
I mean, I bid at 8, okay. So we'll see. I mean, it was 7.5 predominantly. There's a straggler in terms of 8.5. So I thought that there's a good point to be made that maybe this is a bad matchup for Philadelphia. There's obviously no Joel Embiid. You have a Stephon Castle type and some others that would be able to match up with Tyrese Maxey in this backcourt, that they would be able to play well. I think one of the things that Tyrese Maxey and the 76ers desperately want to do today is play with some pace and some frequency, so you could probably get this thing to go over the total. We saw opened it up 231.5. We're at like 232, so not that really big of a bump. But the whole point here, Stormy, would be you don't want to let this defense get set. Because once you get into half-court settings and you have Castle at the point of attack and you've got Victor Wembanyama on the back end and you're just trying to run pick and rolls and stuff to try to get to the rim or do whatever, that's going to be a really tough place to be in if you're Philadelphia. So I would expect that if Philly's going to be pretty live here, you can get over the total. Even if they're not, this seems like a game that they can get over because it's not like the San Antonio Spurs are some glacial-paced team. They can go up and down if they want to, too. But did take a little bit of 8 with the Philadelphia 76ers. We'll see. I have a feeling that my teeth are going to get kicked in tonight in the NBA.
Come on. Breaking down what is a 10-game card in the NBA tonight. Pistons Cavs, a big game for 2 of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. Short spread, bet out in favor of Detroit here from 1.5 to 2.5. No Donovan Mitchell for Cleveland. We talked about this yesterday, but Harden looked good in his first game back from the thumb. Detroit will get Isaiah Stewart back from suspension after that fight against the aforementioned Hornets. Anything here that caught your eye?
I took Cleveland. Let's go with the team that I have deemed the best team in the Eastern Conference, even without Donovan Mitchell tonight. Look, they've got the front court size, I think, to handle what the Detroit Pistons want to put out there, obviously. James Harden, again, is chameleon-like in the way that he can play. He can be the facilitator first and play next to a Donovan Mitchell type. He can also be the focal point of an offense still, and I think that you're going to get that version of him here today. I like this Cleveland team. We'll see injury report-wise for Cleveland. One of the names to note, Dean Wade. He is questionable. Obviously would like him out there too. Don't think that'll affect the point spread much if he plays. But either way, I think Cleveland's live here. I don't know if the gap between Cleveland and Detroit, even without Donovan Mitchell, is to this point where you would make them a 2.5-point favorite on the road. Not for my money. Thought this should be closer to like pick Cavs -1. So let's go Cleveland.
Okay. Another one I know you have interest in tonight, Pelicans and Lakers. Zion Williamson missed Sunday's game against your Clippers with an ankle tweak, although he is questionable. He did a sit down with Malika Andrews yesterday where she asked, like, okay, so what's the deal with this ankle? We're expecting it to be short term. He said, I think I'll be back with the Lakers tomorrow. So the expectation is, at least according to
him,
Zion Williamson, he's going to play tonight. This spread sitting 8.5 right now, which has come a tick down, opened 10. So where do you see it?
Let's test the theory here. We talked about this a couple of days ago. It was right around, I think it was the day that DeJounte Murray came back. They were playing the Warriors at home. They were about 2-point dogs. We talked about the fact that, hey, look, the Pelicans are a team that, like, you can have evidence by the fact that Zion Williamson obviously is coming back, is they don't control their draft pick. They want to come out. They want to put their best foot forward. They want to end the season on a pretty high note. And I think that this is going to be something that'll work in their favor here. The Lakers, they're a bad rim defense. They allow opponents to shoot 30.9% of their shots within 4 feet of the basket. That's middle of the pack, but they're 28th in opponent shooting at the rim, 71.2%. Guess what the Pelicans like to do, especially when Zion Williamson is out there? They will pound the paint. They will get inside. They will try to get within 4 feet of the basket. I think it's a matchup that works for them. This is not, I think, one of those, on paper, if I showed you, hey, this 19-43 team, you would say, well, John, this is our spot, right? Don't you just use the Lakers against some of these bad teams? I think the Pelicans are a little different here, and I think the matchup works a little bit better for them with Zion out there. So I'm kind of banking on Zion not lying and going out and performing and playing here today. But it's a little bit of a risky play. This is the spot, I guess, where the Lakers would thrive a little bit more, trying to beat up on a bad team.
I feel like they'd be bad for him if he didn't play.
Yeah, right, to do the interview.
You do the full sit-down interview. You're asked directly about it. Oh, I'll be back tomorrow with the Lakers. So there you go. Again, 8.5 currently, that number, 242.5 your total. So we talked about the Hornets as kind of a base leg of that tanking parlay situation. What are the rest of it? Like I mean,
you've got 6 options today. So you've got the Hornets, you've got the Magic, you've got the Heat, you've got the Thunder, you've got the Timberwolves, and you've got the Suns. So there's 6 options there for you. And obviously all of them are very big favorites. Charlotte's laying 13. Let's see, Orlando's laying 16. Miami's laying 13. Oklahoma City's laying 10. The Minnesota Timberwolves are laying 14. And then the Suns are laying 10. I would actually, you could put all 6 of them together if you want. The Suns one, I balked at a little bit, but Devin Booker is.
I did that one.
Yeah, but I think you're right, and it's something that had eluded me, and I talked to Mitch about this today really quickly, which was the fact that Booker is back. So I was like, oh, you know what? That's a little bit stronger. Like, I think that's actually a leg you can really use.
Booker's back. Haywood Highsmith's back. 3-day rest advantage.
Yes, and the rest advantage is huge.
So I thought, putting it all together.
Yeah, I think I'm wrong in balking at using that leg. So I think that's a really strong.
That makes me feel good because last time you balked at a leg, it was my leg that lost. So, I'm very concerned.
I'm not. But I think the one that, so I have a 5-legger together. The one that I'm actually a little nervous about is Oklahoma City against your Bulls.
I have that one too.
So I have it, but the problem is...
I did Hornets, Thunder, and Suns.
Yeah, so the problem is, and obviously this expands into a bigger picture, which is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's out today again. Jalen Williams obviously still out. A.J. Mitchell is out. So they are kind of a little bit, they're down, obviously. They're a little thin. So you do wonder if what that's going to look like for this team, but I'm still pretty confident. I mean, you were talking about fading the Bulls.
Yes.
So I think that this is one where I
probably just got that stuck in your head now.
No, it's just the injury report that kind of maybe I shouldn't do this, but it's Chicago, so I'm down.
Okay. I mean, the Bulls have been just absolutely brutal from not only a losing perspective, a covering perspective, and the fact that they're coming off such a big win. Maybe it's a letdown spot. I know we don't talk about that as much in the NBA as we do in college sports, but hey, a worthwhile note there for them. Stop paying full price for gas, by the way, if you are right now. Make your regular daily commute a little bit of extra cash in your pocket. Drivers are earning $200 to $300 a year right now with the free Upside app. And when you download a promo code, when you download it and use the promo code SPORTS, you get 25 cents back per gallon on your first tank and cash out anytime to your bank account or gift cards. Download the free Upside app today. Offers vary by user and location. See upside.com for details. I'm trying to see if I have that in front of me. Yes. So for the Bulls, lost all 11 games they played in February. Beat the Bucks, but again, I'm not putting too much stock into that. In all, 2-14 their last 16 games straight up, 3-13 against the spread in that span. And so, do I want to lay it with the Thunder today? Absolutely not. But do I think they should at least be able to get the win even on the road? Yes.
I would think so too. All right, let's go.
Let's get it done. Okay, we got to step aside here real quickly on Money Moves. When we come back, getting a little stick and puck in our lives. Excited to have a conversation with Jonathan Davis, our VSiN NHL betting expert here at the network, and his thoughts not only on today's card, but some futures angles as well. Stick around.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools. But what they don't want you to know is that you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. VSiN Pro gives you access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Just tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Tuesday edition of Money Moves, live from downtown Las Vegas at the D. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you, and adding another Jonathan into the fold. Jonathan Davis joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line, our VSiN NHL betting analyst, host Sirius XM NHL Network Radio as well. Excited to have you on, Jonathan. What's going on, buddy?
Well, I think I really need to get some of my hockey gear because from what I'm anticipating, JVT is just going to be pounding me.
This is the silliest, most ridiculous thing I've ever heard,
not at all. I mean, there have been many times throughout the history and annals of sports in which we can go back and view some of the biggest matches in combat sports. The Thrilla in Manila comes to mind in 1975, but that pales in comparison to January 22nd of 2026, in which Montreal Max had tweeted both Stormy Buonantony and Jonathan Davis say thank you for a first period Sabres-Canadiens over 1.5. And Jonathan Davis responded, "Why are you thanking Stormy? I gave out the play." Jonathan, what happened?
No, you know what? I was mixing up two plays. So, yes, I felt very bad. But I did. I can't remember what I gave out that night. I do remember the tweet. Absolutely.
So silly. No.
But thank you.
JVT is like made up this beef in his own head that you hate me now because of this. And I'm like, you want to see our text messages, okay?
JD it wasn't and I because of that I hate you, Stormy.
Oh, come on.
See, there it is. Yes.
Come on.
There is some hate
What's the real reason, Jonathan? No, let's get down to it, though, moving ahead in the NHL, because especially with the trade deadline coming up, this is what typically I think would feel like a more exciting week, but I don't know about you. We haven't seen as many moves as I expected to, and I know we're going to have a big conversation around the Pacific Division and, one team in action tonight in the Edmonton Oilers. I know we have a lot to talk about with that game, but for them, I'm a little bit disappointed. I was hoping to see more, and maybe we still will leading up to Friday, but especially with the news that they're not going to go for a goaltender this move. What do you think about the state of the Edmonton Oilers right now?
Well, I thought I liked the deal they made yesterday. Connor Murphy is a guy that is very reliable. He played, I think, in 5 world championships for Team USA. And so he does have big game experience, on a smaller scale. They can't trade for a goalie. I mean, unfortunately, the goalie trade that they made earlier in the year kind of cripples them to make another deal because Tristan Jarry, who just has not lived up to expectation, has a contract that is just too tough to move. So I think for Edmonton, they got the help in the blue line. I think they're going to still look for forward depth. The problem right now with trades is that there are just more sellers than buyers, and the buyers are waiting for the sellers to drop their price.
All right, so what are we doing with a couple of these games? I am very interested. Stormy's talked about this a lot. If I can go to this one, Tampa Bay Lightning and the Minnesota Wild. The Wild have been this team that have been on this run for overs, Jonathan. Is this going to continue today?
I like it. I mean, it's 20 of 23 after they let us down. Minnesota did on Sunday. But that goes to a Sunday under trend, which we can talk about another time. But yeah, I like it. I mean, look, the history between these two teams is that we get at least 6 goals. Tampa's had at least 6 goals in 6 straight games, 6 combined goals in their game. They're coming off that 8-1 pummeling by Buffalo. For me, the over is the way to go with this one here. And Kirill Kaprizov of the Minnesota Wild loves playing against Tampa. 7 goals in 7 games against the Wild and 3 in 5 games against Andrei Vasilevsky. So those are a couple of ways that I'm approaching this game.
VSiN NHL betting analyst Jonathan Davis with us here on the Progressive Guest Line. And while we're talking overs, we might as well go back to the aforementioned Edmonton Oilers who have the Ottawa Senators today. We were texting earlier about a few different angles potentially to buy in on goals being scored. What's your approach?
Well, I love the Ottawa team total over 3. You get that at minus 130. I mean, Edmonton, it's what now, 7 of their last 8 games that they've given up at least 4 goals. 8 straight, they've given up 3 goals. Their last 10 games have had a combined 7 goals. So the Ottawa team total, the over 6.5 are 2 of my favorite plays in this one. And then, look, we're going to get goals here. Leon Draisaitl has 9 goals in 10 games against Ottawa goalie Linus Ullmark. Give me Draisaitl to score a goal tonight.
All right, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Nashville Predators on the road against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Blue Jackets at about $1.35 favorite. What do we have here? Current price still in that range, 6.5 under minus 120.
I love Nashville in this spot. I mean, I love Columbus in this spot. I mean, Columbus gave me a heart attack almost last night. I had them against the Rangers. They had a 4-0 lead going to the third. The Rangers can't score goals at home, and somehow they scored 4, and thankfully I got the win in overtime. But, back-to-backs are not a problem for Columbus this year. They're 7-3 on both the front, or they're 8-3 on the front end and 7-3 on the back end. Nashville, on the other hand, 2-7 on the back end of back-to-backs this year. The home team has won 9 of the last 10 meetings between the two. Give me Columbus first period money line. You get that at about minus 130, and give me them for the full game money line at roughly that same price. And then there's Kirill Marchenko of the Columbus Blue Jackets, 3 goals in 3 games against Nashville goalie Justus Annunen.
Let's go to our hometown Vegas Golden Knights here in Buffalo, taking on the Sabres after what was a pretty embarrassing loss on Sunday, 5-0 to the Pittsburgh Penguins. They also lost their captain, Mark Stone, albeit he is supposed to be day-to-day, so hopefully this isn't anything long-term with the upper body injury. Anything, as it pertains to the Golden Knights' big picture in the division, as well as this game tonight against Buffalo?
Well, I was trying to find a stage of elimination that DraftKings had earlier in the year. If you can find Vegas to get knocked out in the first round, I'd take it. I'm really concerned with this team. They just don't look good at all. They're 5-20 straight up against teams that are currently in the playoffs. That doesn't bode well for them. I mean, they're a big underdog tonight in Buffalo. Like, if I told you that, Stormy, back in October that Vegas would be an underdog against Buffalo, I mean, you'd laugh at me. So I couldn't bet Vegas. I would look to Jack Eichel for an anytime goal. He's haunted his former team. He's got goals. I think it's 6 goals in 5 games against the Sabres. But if you're going to play anything in this one here, maybe even the Buffalo team total is a good way to approach it, because Vegas has been very, very leaky.
It's funny you say that, though, about the stage of elimination, because I was actually saying yesterday, if the Golden Knights end up still winning the Pacific Division, I think they would still get a favorable matchup in the first round that they could get out of. And I was looking at still an early exit for them at plus 270 for the second round stage of elimination prop to be done. But I see why maybe you're thinking that way, because you like another team to win the Pacific Division, and you added a future on the Anaheim Ducks. Why?
Well, I mean, they've got the second easiest remaining schedule in the NHL. Look, if Vegas Vegas loses tonight in regulation, and Anaheim finds a way to win in any fashion tonight, they move into first. I grabbed them last Thursday or Friday at plus 425 to win the division after they won against Calgary on Sunday. That number dropped to under 3-1. But yeah, I just think their schedule is very favorable. They've got a great goalie in Lucas Dostal. So I'm just looking at strength of schedule and the way the rest of the division is playing. I like Anaheim to win this division. They've won 8 straight at home right now. They've won five in a row overall. They're in tough against Colorado. They've only scored 2 goals in 2 games against the Avalanche this year, but they do get them on a back-to-back, and Colorado has struggled in this spot. They're 4-5 on the back end of back-to-backs. They've lost their last 3 games on back-to-backs. So I sprinkled small on Anaheim, and I also like Leo Carlsson, who loves playing against both the Avalanche and Mackenzie Blackwood. He's had a lot of success scoring goals.
Last 90 seconds, we mentioned them briefly, but I'm curious, big picture on Buffalo. Are you a believer? I've been kind of pushing the narrative that they could be dangerous in that conference.
I do like them. I last time I looked, they were 15-1. They've got good goaltending. They've got an elite defenseman, a guy who could win the Norris Trophy as the award for the best defenseman. They're deep down the middle. They've got some nasty players. So I think they've got all the components that you need. The price is great. Strictly on a value standpoint, yeah, Buffalo's the team for me. And they just smacked the team that I love the most, Tampa. So, yeah, I do like Buffalo.
Real quickly, how disappointed are you in the current state of the Los Angeles Kings? I know you were at the game last night.
Well, I'm not it's what I expected. It's not, disappointed because it's been a poorly run organization. So that's disappointing. Last night may have been their best game in a while, but, there's no moral victories for LA, who's likely to miss the playoffs, and a team that I bet to miss before the season started.
Good call by you, JD. Thank you, as always. And look at this. Look at our virtual hug,
That's
JD.
right. Everything works out.
Day, buddy.
Yes.
Jonathan Davis.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate you. And remember, you can always follow Jonathan on X as well, at West Coast Hockey NHL, but hockey is HKY. We've got to step aside here real quickly. When we come back, diving into college basketball, and you will sense that is a theme for a lot of the show moving forward. Buckle up. We'll be right back.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
The D Money Moves rolling along on a Tuesday. Stormy, Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. And a moment ago, we did get some news. We thought this would be the case off the top of the show, talking about Trey Hendrickson and the Cincinnati Bengals. And it appears to be true. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter a moment ago, Trey Hendrickson will not be tagged and will be officially an unrestricted free agent as free agency opens up in about a week.
Yeah, I thought you were going to mention Goth Brooks, who just left. That was the guy that had a coat on that was playing Sigma Derby over here. I think, look, we nailed it. It's what we talked about at the beginning of the show. We expected that this was going to be the case. All signs were pointing to this being the case.
Yep.
Rappaport had the quote earlier, which was, we'd be surprised if he was tagged. And sure enough, time to move on. And he'll be a hot commodity on the market. He plays a glamour position. It's very important. A lot of teams with edge needs. So we will see where he ultimately lands.
Good for him. I'm excited for him to get out of what has been like just a hellish situation for the last couple years in terms of a contract situation and not feeling appreciated. He is, although, coming off of an injury, so we'll see how that might play into things in terms of his market as well. About an hour and 15 minutes until the official franchise tag deadline is in the books at 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern. Let's get into some college basketball. We talked already about how Duke handled business, absolutely clobbering NC State yesterday, 93-64 final. And what did we say about NC State's defense?
Yep.
They're straight up liability, and it shows once again with the Duke Blue Devils last night.
I mean, Duke's an unstoppable force at this point right now. I don't know why you would really try to take your shot against them. By the way, I am very much looking forward to Saturday because, well, I shouldn't say I'll lay it if it's like 25, but I do think that they're going to be in a pretty good position to beat up on the North Carolina Tar Heels. But you said it, for this game, Duke, offensive rating of 144, just absolutely annihilated this team inside. They shot 70% on 2-point shots. They were 21 of 30, went 11 of 28 from beyond the arc. This team's like doing it all. They also had 27 free throw attempts. They actually shot like relatively poorly from the free throw line. Could have been even worse if you're looking at it from that perspective. Stormy, they grabbed 43% of their missed shot attempts. They had an offensive rebounding rate of 43.3%. They were absolutely incredible, and we should not forget that they were very good on defense, holding NC State to less than a point per possession. So this team now on a roll from a cover standpoint. You zoom out and you look at just this conference play and this stretch that they have been on since the loss to North Carolina, but even since before that. They are destroying ACC opponents day in and day out. This team looks like not only it's going to be one of the best teams in the NCAA tournament. I mean, what would be the price that you would balk at to lay with them to win the ACC tournament?
Oh, yeah. I feel like are in a different phase right now of their game, which is honestly pretty similar to what NC State head coach Will Wade had to say after the game yesterday as it pertains to Duke just being at a different level right now.
Good games, but like I said, look, we got a long way to go to catch Duke right now. There's as good a team as I've played against. I'm not just talking about their talent. The way they operate, they're ruthlessly efficient on both ends. Coach Shire does just an incredible job. Watch the way they run to the scorer's table when they sub in. Like, everything is tight. Like, it's an impressive operation from top to bottom. And we got some work to do. We kind of know where the standard is now. And we've got work to do, and our eyes are wide open to try to start the chase and try to catch up.
Just even noting like the little things though that Duke does that just are different seeing them do it than other teams. Now, from a team that's peaking at the right time in Duke to one that's stumbling, Iowa State with another loss yesterday, albeit they were a decent-sized underdog in that spot against Arizona, but now dropped back-to-back games to Texas Tech and Arizona, 3 of the last 4 as well when you include the loss to BYU. Is this a concern if you are somebody that's got some Iowa State futures, maybe likes them to make a deep run in the tournament, that they are kind of faltering here late?
Yeah, I don't even think it's the faltering of late. It's just the way that they're faltering. If you look at the way that they have lost some of these games, a lot of it centers around the fact that their offense just continues to be somewhat inconsistent. And when you meet a team that is not going to turn the ball over at a high rate, that's going to allow you to get out to run to do those things, I think that's going to be something, and is pretty good when they do turn it over. That's going to be something that's going to really bother Iowa State. Outside of the possessions, really, I thought when they were forcing those turnovers, because they did at least force, 15 yesterday? Outside of that, Stormy, they still averaged 0.85 points per possession. They were not very efficient when they were forced to slow down, and that's, I think, going to be an issue with Iowa State. It's kind of a similar concept, I thought, from last year, right? You don't really trust them in terms of their set offenses. And, again, they shot the ball poorly, so that's part of it. They're a relatively good three-point shooting team, but last night, 23% from beyond the arc, 7 of 30. You expect that in the big picture they're going to be able to do better. For the season, they're still shooting at 38%, and that's part of it as well.
So if you do think that they can kick it back into gear and do a little something when it gets to NCAA tournament time, their odds have lengthened to win a national title out to 22-1. Duke, though, you're short shot by a mile at plus 320. They have now leapfrogged Michigan for the standalone. Michigan, though, not far back, plus 330. Arizona, plus 475. Florida, 8-1 to round out the top 4.
Yeah, and I would say, this seems chalky. We will see, but I would say that I would not include Iowa State amongst the teams that can win an NCAA tournament. That makes it hard. Do you bet them Final Four? I guess maybe they make a run. You find an opportunity to get off of it, but I wouldn't be. Probably shouldn't be making bets just with the thought of hedging later. You should be making bets because you think that they are going to win. And there's value in them. So I would not, even though Ken Pom. They've got them as a top 10 team. Remember, at one point for a few hours, they were the final 1 seed by the committee standards. I think that this is, very short-lived because it died that day, just a few hours later. And I also just think that, there is such a, bar between Duke, Michigan, Arizona, and Florida, and then the rest of the field, that it's hard to see a team like an Iowa State kind of crack through. But we'll see. It's a single elimination neutral site tournament.
Is plus 425 to make the Final Four. Duke minus 170.
Yeah.
Like, that's how clear a picture it looks like for the Duke Blue Devils right now. I wanted to talk a little bubble here for a bit. We obviously had Jerry Palm on the program yesterday. Joe Lunardi, known for what he puts in to his tournament stuff. Last 4 in for Lunardi: Santa Clara, Ohio State, New Mexico, Indiana. First 4 out: Auburn, SDSU, VCU, and Virginia Tech. There aren't odds on all of these teams, but most of them. Santa Clara is one I know you brought up with Jerry yesterday, so I was curious your opinion on it. Minus 130 to make the tournament, even money to miss. Where do you sit?
So I think, and this was a brief point made on Pot of the Futures today, which was, so yes, minus 130, but it seems like they're probably going to have to beat, because they're on the side of the bracket with St. Mary's, and that maybe they need one more quad win to kind of solidify their spot here. So instead of betting yes minus 130, if you think Santa Clara can make the NCAA tournament, maybe just wait till they play St. Mary's and play them on the money line there, because they're probably going to be, it also depends on how the bubble breaks down, but you're going to be an underdog in that game against St. Mary's, and maybe that is the win that just gives you enough of the resume boost to get you in. Because if you win that game and then lose to Gonzaga, that's not going to be a bad loss for you. That's not going to alter your resume. But a St. Mary's win would do that for you. It is a relatively weak resume for Santa Clara. There's not that much to go back on when you look at the net rankings and what their schedule looked like and what they actually did at this point. Net rankings has Santa Clara, I want to double check I have this, 41st, and they're 1-5 in quad 1. Yeah. So if you get one more quad 1 win to boost that resume, that should help you out quite a bit. So maybe just wait for that scenario instead of laying the minus 130.
Ohio State, meanwhile, coming off the win over Purdue, minus 240 now, all of a sudden to make, plus 180 to miss. There isn't a number for New Mexico. For San Diego,
that's what I want.
That's what I'm curious about, because San Diego State on the other side of it, on the first 4 out for Lunardi, plus 200 to make, minus 290 to miss. Big game for the Aztecs tonight in Boise, taking on Boise State. But New Mexico is the team I'm like, why of all of these teams is there not a number for the Lobos? I
don't know, because outside of Utah State, who is the highest ranked team in terms of the net rankings, they're 26th. New Mexico's the second highest. They're 42nd. Now, obviously, there's a gap there, but maybe the thought is that they're in, but I don't think that's the case. I mean, they're 2-5 in quad 1 wins. They have a quad 3 loss. That's going to work against them for the most part. I would think that a lot of bracketology would say it. They're very firmly on the bubble. So I would be curious to see what a pricing standpoint looks like. Probably a little bit better in terms of the yes to make the NCAA tournament than what San Diego State is looking at this point right now. But I think New Mexico is, one of the more interesting teams and where they might be. I think at the end of the day, if I told you right now, Utah State is the one that wins the Mountain West tournament, it's probably a one-bid league. I mean, I don't know.
Think?
I mean,
see, I was thinking even if Utah State won it, because they're going to be in, period. I still thought that Mountain West was a 2-big lead, and I just assumed that 2 was going to be New Mexico. Mm-hmm. But
what if New Mexico just loses their first tournament game?
Would they, though? I don't think they would.
I mean, it depends on how the bracket breaks. It's all over the place with the bracket right now.
It is such a weird conference.
Yeah.
They have to close out the season against Colorado State and at Utah State. So do you think that game in Logan then becomes that much more critical for New Mexico in the big picture?
Absolutely. I mean, you would need to write that. Like you mentioned, that's going to be on the road. It's going to be an absolutely massive opportunity to get a quad 1 victory for them. I think they would need that on the resume. If then they were going to go to the Mountain West tournament and lose, that would be, I think, enough of a resume builder if they beat Utah State in the finale on the road to get it done.
Okay, we'll have a lot more college basketball talk coming up in the next hour of the program. Professional bettor Chris Massaro is going to join us, professional handicapper Paul Stone as well. And a reminder, with March and the madness officially heating up, our Hoops Mania specials going on right now. You can get VSiN Pro access to everything we do through May 1st for just $29.99. That's all of the best bets, the betting splits, the AI-powered prop tools and matchup analysis, 24/7 video, full show replays, plus the March Mania betting guide that's going to come out once the tournament is set with team profiles for every team, key trends for each round, and so much more. VSiN.com/subscribe. Again, that's VSIN.com/subscribe. Good reminder as well, we had Jonathan Davis on last segment. His article should be up shortly at VSiN.com, breaking down the full NHL card today. Again, you get unlimited access to it all when you're a VSiN Pro subscriber. We'll be right back.